I was graduating. It was my last year of high school. And I grew up, in the boonies up north. I don't know if you Americans say that. Do you guys say the boonies?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
That's
a
sure.
phrase.
I grew up in the boonies.
Yeah.
And last year of high school, and we used to have these talent shows every year, these variety shows, like typical high school variety shows. And I did every single year. Little did I know I had a producer to the stars that was watching me every single year, which in hindsight kind of sounds creepy. He was like this old British man with like crazy horn-rimmed glasses. But his daughter attended my high school, and she was a couple years older than me. And he being a music industry guru, he kind of wanted to see what was up with the, future talent. And I had no idea that he was like watching me grow and perform this whole time in my last year of high school. He came up to me after the show and was like, listen, I think you've got a great voice. I'm not going to pretend to do his accent because it'll be embarrassing for me and for you guys. But he was like, yeah, you've got an insane voice. I would sincerely like to mentor you and take you under my wing.
Wow. That's Jess Abran, head of content creation and face of the international crowdfunding platform, Uululay. We got to sit down with both Jess and Uululay's Community Captains Program Manager, Laura Bocquillion, to hear about Uululay's hands-on approach to supporting creatives in their entrepreneurial endeavors. Specifically, Jess shared how her relationship with Uululay changed the trajectory of her career as a musician and travel host. She learned the power of community in fostering growth as a creative, and how you can still experience joy and contentment in life without losing your edge as an artist. Excited to introduce the one-of-a-kind, Jess Abran.
Jess, welcome to the OneKind Creative. We're so happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here, guys.
Yeah.
I love this.
You are our first Canadian.
You are?
Okay.
First of all.
Except for where are you from originally?
I'm from Canada.
From
Montreal.
Canada.
From Montreal. Okay.
But
Well, from the country.
That's what you would say.
Yeah, I grew up on a Jersey cow farm in the country, in the northern Laurentians of Quebec.
Wow, that's a novel waiting to happen.
Wow. I've always wondered what the majority of Canada is as country, right? Like, they've got a couple of cities, but most of Canada is just...
It's a lot of rolling landscapes.
A lot of rolling landscapes.
Yeah.
But your story as a young kid growing up there is one of kind of early on finding a creative passion in whatever you were doing, or was it like specific to one thing? Like, did you as a kid like pick up a guitar and say, it calls to me, and then start
Kind of, yeah. It's funny you say that. No, ever since I was really young, I always feel bad. It's weird. It's so cliche. It's like a gift and a curse, because you grow up with a lot of people who kind of dabble in a lot of different things, and they're like, they go through college, university, they're like, I kind of don't know what I want to do. I'll try this, I'll try that. Ever since I was very young, I always knew like this was it. It was a path in the entertainment industry. I just knew it. There was no other way. No other thing for me. And I really wasn't that good at school. Different people have different ways of learning. Sure. And the educational system had one path, and I was going down the other.
Yeah.
So, as a young kid, it was always music, like music. I grew up on classic rock, I thought I was going to be like the next Janis Joplin or whatever. And it slowly grew into the entertainment industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm. Got you. So what was that first step into the entertainment industry like?
It was very weird in a sense because my parents, like some people, I guess, put their kids in like pageantries and pageant shows and stuff. So mine put me through these vocal competitions across Canada.
No pressure.
So I was just always on stage, like as a young kid, and it's very bizarre because you see me now and you'd never think like, oh my God, she's such like a nervous wreck, or you'd never think like this person has crazy anxiety, but I do. And so I always like contradict myself, like, oh God, I chose such a weird, odd, bizarre career path for myself, because literally every time I do anything and the spotlight's on me, I feel like I'm going to throw up. So
There's a bag right next to you.
Yeah, thanks. But it's always just been so nerve-wracking for me. And growing up in the entertainment industry and in the music industry, you're surrounded by people who, seemingly exude so much confidence. And for the longest time, I used to have my openers come up to me, be like, Jess, you're still nervous? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, your kneecaps are purple. And I'm like, yeah, man, you're not. Jeez, you want to do an extra 25 minutes, actually? Yeah, so it's a weird struggle between, like, this is really what I want to do. I know this is what I want to do, despite failure, despite the percentage, the low percentage of success. It never mattered, just because that's the only way. So, you hear a lot of no. You hear a lot of you're not good enough, you're not tall enough, you're not pretty enough, curly hair isn't marketable enough. And it doesn't matter, because you brush it off and you just get back up and you do it again. You have to when there's no other way.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You have so much just like zest for life, and it's neat that despite the challenges of being in front of an audience and having that stage fright or like the butterflies or feeling like just sick to your stomach, you just continued to persevere. What about the creative process made you feel that way? I mean, obviously you knew you had to do it, but what part did you love? Because clearly you didn't maybe love some of it,
like
right?
The performance.
The performance in front of a bunch of people. Did you love and hate it at the same time, or?
I think it's once you're on, like once you know, like it's on.
Once you're like pushed out, or like
it's like your Sasha Fierce comes out, right?
It's almost
or like skydiving.
Yeah.
Like you finally jump out, and then now you're enjoying.
It's just a very enlightening experience, and you just zone out. It's hard to explain, but I'm sure stand-up comics feel the same way when they're on stage, or artists or musicians or any type of performer or creative outlet. Once you're zoned in, it's like everything else gets tuned out and you become numb and yet alive at the same time. It's a very complicated experience. It's almost like it's hard to describe love and being in love. It's that type of feeling.
Nice. So when was the first time that you had an experience where you saw the, I guess, like opportunity and saw success through that opportunity of this could actually work, I've made it. Like I'm a songwriter now.
Yeah, it's weird. I think I had a few of those times, where you think like, this is it.
Yeah,
I'm big time now. No, it was never really about, because I struggle with like low self-esteem and lack of self-confidence. It doesn't matter how many times people will come up to me and like, holy crap, you've got a really beautiful voice. Like, whoa, I was not expecting that to come out of your body or your face. And it's just like, oh, thanks. But it's not the gratitude or the compliments that really feeds the drive or that makes me feel like, oh, this is why I have to do this. It's really the act in itself that really makes me feel like I have to just keep doing it. It's like a drug. It's almost like an addiction. You just have to keep doing it. But I remember one specific time where I was like, I've made it. I was graduating. It was my last year of high school. And I grew up, in the boonies up north. I don't know if you Americans say that. Do you guys say the boonies?
We do.
Oh, yeah.
That's
for
sure.
A phrase.
I grew up in the boonies.
Yeah.
And last year of high school, and we used to have these talent shows every year, these variety shows, like typical high school variety shows. And I did every single year. Little did I know I had a producer to the stars that was watching me every single year, which in hindsight kind of sounds creepy. He was like this old British man with like crazy horn-rimmed glasses. But his daughter attended my high school, and she was a couple years older than me. And he being a music industry guru, he kind of wanted to see what was up with the, future talent. And I had no idea that he was like watching me grow and perform this whole time in my last year of high school. He came up to me after the show and was like, listen, I think you've got a great voice. I'm not going to pretend to do his accent because it'll be embarrassing for me and for you guys. But he was like, yeah, you've got an insane voice. I would sincerely like to mentor you and take you under my wing.
Wow. My
name is Paul Northfield, and, I'm producer to Rush, Black Sabbath, Courtney Love, all of the above. And I'd like to kind of show you the ropes and show you the way, and maybe we can create some cool stuff together. And I just about passed out. Yeah.
Threw up.
I was like,
your knees
like
really
I'm shaking
were.
now, like remembering how I felt. I was like, this is it, guys.
Wow.
I'm going to Hollywood. And it was really just like, wow, okay, I guess I do have something. I guess I do. I mean, him saying that really made me feel like validated.
Did he follow through with it?
Yeah, so I was under his wing and I guess, had this mentorship with him for a good 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And so, he'd take me to and from Los Angeles a few times. We created some stuff. I had one of my songs that was, produced and mastered by him, ended up in some film score that was nominated for Best Movie Trailer at the Hollywood Film Festival alongside with Anne Hathaway's Les Miserables. Wow. I mean, obviously that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, I was like 21 years old for the first time.
Yeah.
Like in LA,
it's
just
huge.
Like, it was so crazy. Coming from like a small town on a farm, like, my family being like, what the hell is she doing? Like, go into a trade, finish school, get out of here. Yeah. You can get out of here. So, growing up, it's just like I was definitely the black sheep, which is, like right now. And, you have this like fire in you as a kid, just wanting to prove everyone wrong, So that's been a drive and a motivator for me as well. It's just like, I'll show you guys.
Wow.
So then where did that opportunity take you?
So after a long while of freelancing, I moved out of the music industry as a whole. I mean, I'm still always and forever going to be a musician and an artist, first. But I expanded into the entertainment industry and became like a travel entertainment host and figured if I can't, be on stage with a giant oversized guitar all the time, I'll find another way to be on camera and be on stage. And that's where I started doing these travel hosting gigs for web series, TV, and then that led me to Uululay.
Ooh.
Enter Uululay.
Yeah, yes. Enter Uululay, stage right. And that was really insane. They had found me through a casting agency that I was with, that I actually forgot that I was with. And they were like, "Hey, like we're this cool crowdfunding company, and we help young entrepreneurs, creatives, and the makers and shakers of the world get their projects funded, and we want to hire you to host a few ad campaigns we've got going on." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds kind of sweet." And so I did that, and I absolutely fell in love with the team. Laura was one of the first people I had met from there. So sweet, so patient, so creative. The whole team's very young, very passionate, dynamic group of people. And so they hired me for a few gigs, and then that's when the growth specialist, who's my boss now, Tom, took me on a few coffee dates and was like, "Hey, we'd like to kind of reel you in full time so that you can do your thing all the time."
Yeah. You're like, yes.
And I was like, okay, that sounds really cool. And here I am today.
It's such a beautiful, like, strange story because, I mean, here you are, this nervous performer in all of these singing competitions, but with a passion and a idea to, make it in the music industry. And now all of a sudden shifting gears and becoming the face of a business that is supporting creatives.
Bizarre. Yeah. I'm nervous right now. Like, my hands are like wet and clammy and cold. But yeah, it's really awesome. I mean, I wish I could have used a better word, but it's really cool, really awesome. I get to represent creatives just like me who may sometimes feel lost and like they don't have enough information, or they don't know how to ask the right questions. They don't know where to get funding, how to find their audience, how to test the market. Yeah. And I'm part of a company that can help them through all of that.
Yeah. So give the quick elevator pitch of what Uululay is.
I would say that it's a platform by creators helping creatives. Like, it's not like this is not an elevator pitch now, but it's not like we're, corporate, big pharma, men in suits. We're a bunch of young people doing creative things, trying to help other creative people find success. And I don't know if crowdfunding gets a bad rap, and I don't know if some people think like, oh, it's really intimidating, but we have all the tools for success, including success coaches helping you throughout your whole campaign to make sure that your campaign page is foolproof and that we want you to get your project funded. It's within our best interest. And so I think that it's awesome. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't be here.
Right, for sure. Well, you don't seem like somebody who's going to do something if they don't want to do it.
No, exactly. I'm Uululay's demographic.
Right.
And so if they got me to be on board, I feel like I could best represent their demographic and be like, guys, it's okay. You can do this.
Yep, because you've walked in their shoes,
Yeah.
So, that's perfect. It seems like you're exactly where you're meant to be in life right now,
yeah,
right?
You said that to me earlier, and that really resonated with me. It's exactly where I'm meant to be right now. I'm learning, I'm being challenged, I'm growing more so than I ever feel like I would have if I, would have stayed in school. It's an amazing opportunity, and it's an amazing platform.
Yeah, stability is an interesting thing as a creative, right? Because there's a certain sense of like the instability that comes with vulnerability. And vulnerability is actually a really good thing as a creative. Like your ability to kind of say like, I'm so nervous right now. It like makes you really, really endearing. But it's that same quality that allows you to open up a diary, share all your thoughts, put it in song form, and then bless people with like,
community, essentially.
Yeah.
Because people want a place to belong.
Yeah, there's this notion that a few of my friends and I in the creative community have like struggled with, and we have this fear of like, obviously everyone struggles with anxiety or depression or to some certain extent. And in the creative community, there's this notion of like, oh, I can't get better. I can't be happy. If I'm happy, I'll lose it. I'll lose my mojo. I'll lose that spark, that thing that makes me unique, creative. Like, what if I get better? Will it all go away? And it's, I guess, the same feeling I felt when I was offered kind of like stability at Uululay. I was like, I don't know. Do I want this? There's no risk. I'm going to have a steady paycheck?
Right.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
We had a
We've
conversation.
talked about being a healthy creative with other people on the podcast. And it is that like that same mentality that you were just saying. It's scary to sometimes be healthy as a creative because you're like, I'm going to lose all of that like motive or all of the inspiration, like my muse, everything that like that makes me feel uncomfortable or like sad or all the things that force you to create, But obviously, you're a living testament that is not necessarily always the case, that you can be happy and right where you're meant to be and feel totally fulfilled and excited and exuberant and changing people's lives. And like, it's really impactful, right? Because you feel such a sense of purpose, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, and even more so, what her takeaway was, what her learning lesson was that to be healthy, you be in community. Like that is the healthiest state for any creative.
Exactly. I was going to say that one thing that I have now that maybe I didn't have so much before is a sense of community and support that maybe, when I've isolated myself in the past, I don't have it. I don't have another point of view or an unbiased opinion. You just surround yourself by like-minded people who are in the same hole or rut as you're in, and that can be toxic and unhealthy. Although you trick yourself into thinking like, no, this is it. This is my creative hole. This is my dark cloud. Letting go of that has proven to be successful.
Wow.
And it's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I love it. So can you tell us a little bit about your pitch events and what your role is and what the event is like?
Yeah, so the pitch events are really cool. And what I think makes Uululay stand out above any other crowdfunding platform is that we take it the extra mile. Not only are you able to create your project page on our website, your campaign page, but we touch base on the success coaching. So you have someone there either through live chat, through phone calls, emails, guiding you through your campaign process. But we also host what we call pitch events internationally. And these events are especially curated for people who are launching their project through our website to kind of pitch their project, have a bunch of fun, meet other people within their community who are doing the same thing. We've got like a panel of jury members who usually offer grants or prizes for said project. It's a democratic event. The audience gets the vote on their favorite picked. It's awesome. It's an awesome way to network.
What are some of the qualities about entrepreneurs and pitches that tend to be more successful than others?
So the perfect person to touch base on this actually would be Laura, who is our Director of Operations at Uululay. And so, Laura, I'm kind of going to give you my seat right now.
Whoa.
Tag team.
Hand off. Never done this before in an interview. We got to have two specialists here. This is pretty exciting.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Of course.
But yes, Jess is our head community captain for North America, and I'm in charge of all of our pitch events worldwide. We host them in 30 cities now.
Wow.
It's been a year and a half, I think. Wow. Last year was an intense year of 100 events.
Wow.
It's incredible.
100 events.
Wow.
100 events.
In this region?
In across the US,
Okay.
Canada, France, Belgium, Spain, Italy. Yes, yeah. Yeah, because Uululay's international player, but we're mostly known in Europe, and we're leading the market in Europe, kind of the European Kickstarter, if you'd like. And now we're expanding to the US. And these pitch events are a way for us to grow. It's part of our growth strategy to get more entrepreneurs and creatives know about us and use our services.
So what are the qualities, like I was asking Jess, what are the qualities that make a good pitch good? What are the qualities that
Make you stand
investors would be looking for?
So we're talking about investors who are actually the crowd, right? So anyone could be a potential investor. So it could be your aunt, or it could be your cousin, or a friend of a friend of a friend, right? So it's a little bit different in our pitch competitions, pitch events, because you want to talk to, the crowd. So it's not like you have to explain your whole business plan or have like a viable model. It's different than that. It's more explain, where you're from and where does that project come from, what's the story behind that? Why are you asking for money today to build your own studio, to record your podcasts? What's the story behind that? And actually, I find that the best pitch in the events are the ones that are just very honest and genuine, so that we can understand what's this person's story. Yeah, and it's the same in crowdfunding, actually. And when we help creators talk about their project, they instantly talk about their project and the style of music or but then we're like, but you have to talk about yourself as well. And sometimes it's difficult for creators and creatives to talk about themselves. So that's where we help them, and they're very vulnerable often. And we touched base on that with Jess. It could be a quality, but when it comes to selling yourself type of thing, it's difficult for creatives.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance for a creative business person to like market themselves when they know how to turn on, whether they're a hairstylist or an actor or a musician. I mean, you name it, they know how to turn it on in their environment. But as soon as the story is about them, not playing a character, but about them, then all of a sudden it's like, don't make me sing.
Yeah.
So how does Uululay support a creative through the whole idea?
So it's a lot of discussions, a lot of reassuring the creatives. And then very specifically, we have rehearsals where, the best way to practice is just to do it and in front of your mirror, but also in front of an audience. So we organize rehearsals with an actual audience, so that the creatives can pitch, and then it's really fun because all of the creatives and the entrepreneurs are together and they give feedback to each other. So that's really also valuable to get advice from your peers. We also we want the community of Uululay and of the creatives to be involved in that process as well. So what we often do is that we ask the creatives to actually record a video of their pitch and to post it on Instagram or on Facebook. Usually it's Instagram stories, and to get feedback on their pitch. Because what's important to us is that the crowd in the end is the one who should be seduced. And at the pitch events, we have a competition with a grant at the end, and it's actually the crowd who decides who the winner is. So the crowd is really the king or the queen.
Hence the democracy component that Jess was talking about, right?
Exactly.
So interesting.
So when somebody signs up to be a part of the platform, what is that initial process like? And do they have a lot of that, like you said, that you have a lot of peer kind of mentorship along the way as well? So they feel like they're getting a whole community of like-minded people?
Exactly. So our coaches, success managers are specialized in certain categories. So we have like a music specialist and a film specialist. So they get to have advice that are specific to their industry. And then we have closed groups online. So it's all on Facebook, closed Facebook groups with creatives that are launching their crowdfunding campaigns at the same time. And so they share, tips. And actually, it's funny because it was supposed to be just for crowdfunding. And it happens now that it's on almost everything related to their business and their brands. And then I have to say at the rehearsal and at the pitch events, that's where they really meet physically, and it's always super rewarding, for the Uululay team and for me specifically to see that friendships emerge from those events. Business partnerships sometimes emerge from those events as well. So
I imagine
that's really cool.
I imagine even more important than like being able to win an investor is those like relationships, right? Because at the end of the day, whether you have an idea like you want to build a podcast studio or you're just trying to grow your brand, we're all quirky black sheep from Quebec. We're all quirky black sheep from Quebec, and yet we
Just as our spirit animal.
Yes, yeah. No, we have our own unique stories to tell, I think is the point. And that it's the vulnerability and the bravery that is required that is the most attractive and therefore should be the most celebrated thing in all of it, right?
So obviously Uululay has come a long way. It's been around for 10 years, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was founded in 2010, originally in France, and we're expanding in North America since 2015.
Okay, that's amazing. And so, what has like been a big like marketing component to your position in terms of like your strategy for growing the business and getting the word out? I mean, obviously these events. What else?
So yeah, those pitch events, and they're related to our social media advertising, because we use essentially Instagram and Facebook to promote these events, which are call for projects. So we had to strategize our promotion on social media. So creating a lot of content that speaks to the creators, right? So we have to make sure that we have valuable content that's going to bring something to the table and that's going to be helpful for them, and that's going to be also a little bit intriguing. Like, what is Uululay? What are those pitch events? What is crowdfunding in the end? Because I think we know crowdfunding, but we don't realize that it's just a way to pre-sell a product, or just to pre-sell your next album or tickets to a concert. We don't realize that it's a way to engage your community. We work with a lot of creatives who have thousands of followers on Instagram, but still they don't know how to really monetize or even just to engage them in what they do. So our whole strategy is to be more educational about all of those aspects of crowdfunding, and so that's a lot of content on social media.
And who creates the content?
So that would be Jess.
Jess is the content person.
Jess creates the content.
Web series, tips, video tips.
So you have photos. You have video. Would you say that photo or video does better than the other, or is it
definitely video?
Okay.
Oh yeah, we have So the Instagram plus video is the winning combination for us right now.
Okay.
So what's great about the Facebook algorithm is that you, according to the target that you want to target, then the Facebook algorithm chooses to show your video on Instagram or on Facebook. So that depends if we want to target creatives for example, entertainment pitch events in Los Angeles. Probably Instagram stories will be where we'll be advertised. But
but the algorithm is doing this on its own.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's the magic of the Facebook Business Manager. It's one of my favorite tools.
Is that something that you are in charge of mostly?
So I have a team for that, but yes. So part of the challenge for us is to understand how to best use Facebook and Instagram to be reactive. There are no rules for social media ads. So the same video that was super successful for us last year might not be a year after that for the same audience with the same budget. So we always have to think of other strategies, and so the components that we can change are, the text, the content of the ad, the location, the duration, the budget. So that's things we monitor on a daily basis. So it's a key element to choose which platform you're advertising on, but obviously the content itself is what's the most important thing. And Jess is actually our queen of content at Uululay.
Nice.
So
Come
maybe
on
I'll
back.
just call Jess.
This is fun. This is like little musical chairs.
All right.
So we just had to switch back. Now
Yes.
another person.
Nice.
The accent
right.
won't give it away or anything, but
What was the question at hand?
the question was, what is your creative process for creating content for Uululay?
So it varies. And I love that it varies because I like keeping things interesting. I don't like doing it. If there was like a strict content schedule of like, this is how you execute this, and then you go to this, and then you do this, then it would become a bit lackluster for me. Look at me with that word. So I guess it varies, and it's different for every type of client we have, and it's constant, which is great.
So how often do you guys post?
So daily, and if not daily, then several times a week. Most of my content consists of engaging with our communities on Facebook, on Instagram. We've got several Facebook communities or groups active at the moment because of our efforts in North America. And by North America, I mean the United States in this case. So, getting all of our pitchers ready and engaged for the pitch coming up. Like, hey guys, it's in 2 weeks. I can't wait to meet you. This is what you need to do to get ready. Don't forget, attend the pitch rehearsals. And
it's a lot of education.
But
just vamping up the
vamping everything up and educating them, but in a fun way.
Yeah, because know your audience, and you are a creative, so it has to be visually appealing and exciting, and not just something that's really corporate and boring.
Exactly, and I think that's part of one of the reasons why they chose me to do this content or these type of ads is because they don't want it to sound salesy. Because in the end, we are trying to get these people on board, and in the end, it is a sale.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that, not to cut you off, what's interesting about that is it's a sale on you're helping them also sell.
Yes.
So you're selling to them, but in hopes that you can help them sell.
Succeed.
And succeed. Exactly.
It's just such a delicate procedure because the demographic is
sees
me.
Right through, yeah.
And, as an artist, you see ads and things all over the place. Are you looking to get your podcast to the masses, or are you trying to find your right? It's just so I've seen this before. This sounds scammy. What's in it for you? What am I getting out of this? And so it's up to me to find that delicate balance of how can I speak to this community, this audience, my people, about this crazy opportunity without sounding too salesy about it. And I think we found that balance.
Good. What do you think has worked well and what hasn't?
In the beginning, because it was hard for me to kind of know Uululay's voice and their demographic, I don't come from an entrepreneurial business background.
Right.
And a lot of our first, efforts were strictly pertaining to the entrepreneurial community. And this is not a language I know. So in the beginnings, it was, maybe a script that wasn't written by me, and maybe me executing that sounded a bit stiff just because it's not language that I would typically use on a day-to-day. And in the end, it came through in the videos that I might have seemed ungenuine. But as time passed, I started really recognizing what the company was about, what their voice was, what their vibe was, and then I started taking on the scripts on my own and writing for Uululay in my voice, which is Uululay's voice, and it works out much better. I sound genuine, I feel anyway. The proof is in the pudding. So
Right.
So you guys have had some success since you coming on in your marketing efforts and
so.
Branding and everything. Do you feel like it's been exciting to see how you've been connecting with new people?
Yeah, definitely. Our clients are happy. So I'm happy. And, I'm at the forefront of all of that. All the content we do and that we package up and give to them, that is what they're seeing. They're seeing me, they're seeing my energy, and all of that trickles down, throughout the entire company. But if I don't do a good job, that's the first thing they're going to see. Obviously, Laura plays a huge part in this because the events themselves have to be a success. It's all about putting butts in seats or filling the room, and making sure that our entrepreneurs have legitimate projects and that they're passionate and that I do see the success. We're still here and we're growing massively, quickly. So
it's a good problem to have.
Yeah, it's a very good problem to have. It's keeping me busy, which is keeping me out of my head.
Yeah.
And I get to stay productive and creative, and that's
stand
great.
on top of a stage.
When you're on the go constantly, it gives you a lot of opportunities for inspiration to create content. Are you taking a camera around and just snapping photos all the time? How do you guys get your content?
Yeah, so it's exactly that. Okay. I'm in charge of if we are to get some sort of a production crew. So I'm in charge of vetting that and hiring the people necessary, whether that be a camera guy, a sound guy, editor, whatever it may be. that's my department. And, call sheets, production, directing, hosting, all of that falls on me. In this case, it's just me and my camera and you guys. And we'll make it work. I mean, cameras are amazing these days.
So true. It's very true.
So, yeah.
So true.
I love it.
Yeah. So your story is just so full circle, right? Like to be owning a stage for music, being vulnerable and sharing your story through your songs, to now be standing on top of a stage and helping other people to be vulnerable and to create an audience out of other creators, and to help bring them along and help their sort of little creative projects come true. I think it's so special.
It's like creatives curating for creators.
Right.
The 3C.
The 3C.
It's like wrap your mind around that.
3C, exactly.
So, I mean, obviously, we're really excited to come to the event tomorrow.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you guys there.
It's going to be super fun to see you in your, just shine, because I know that you're going to.
No pressure.
No pressure. We'll be cheering you on. But where can people find you? And, I mean, your profile, but also...
You specifically, yeah.
Yeah, Uululay. And how can they follow along on the journey?
Yeah, so you guys can find me at Jess Abran, and that's the same for all my social media handles. So at Jess Abran, JESSABRAN for, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, what have you. And follow Uululay and our journey. We're international. We're doing great things. We're making things happen, making good things happen. So follow at Uululay. That's ULULE across the board for all social media platforms as well. And I can't wait to see you guys at the pitch, and you guys at the pitch, and you guys at the pitch. Don't be shy. Come say hi.
Hey, thanks for listening. Don't be a stranger. Hit the subscribe button and let us know how you enjoyed the episode in a rating on the podcast app or in the comments below if you're watching. And remember, you're one of a kind.